The key takeaway from this video, this is what I want you to take away from it, is that there is a lot of solutions out there and you can spend a ton of money into getting exactly what you need. But even in that case, there's always going to be things that you're going to have to do to modify your kit to better suit your needs. So this video is going to show you a lot of little DIY tricks and tips scattered throughout this setup. So what I want you to take away from this is that there's a lot of things that you could do yourself for very cheap to make your gear work for you. This is going to be a full overview and I'm going to show you a lot of that into the video as well. Save yourself money and do the best you can, get creative when you're setting up your own kit. I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove this big antenna, actually an Harris antenna, a whip antenna that connects to the 152, and it is on my left side of the body, which makes it out of the way when shouldering a rifle. As of right now, I have this Tails PTT speaker. It's not the most high-speed system, but for my application it works really well, especially when you're patrolling. You can communicate and talk to people, but at the same time this is a big work in progress because I am working on a helmet solution PTT com setup, so this is temporary for now. The one thing that I dislike is how massive this coil cable is, so I zip tied it and now it kind of sits in the back of the radio. Talking about the plate carrier itself, so this plate carrier is made by Defcon 5. So Defcon 5 pretty much copied the Warrior Assault System DCS plate carrier, which is a very popular and proven system that has been seen a ton of use and especially picking up a lot of usage right now in Ukraine. So it's a very well-known platform. The plate carrier itself follows the design of the DCS very, very closely. The first thing we can talk about is the plates themselves. And one of the first things that I did is I created this spacer with EVA foam, which allows the plates to stay higher and not sag towards the bottom of the plate bag. So the plate themselves are by RTS Tactical. These are ceramic level 4 NIJ plates. So RTS Tactical was kind enough to send these out. No really any obligation behind it. They sent this out, and so thank you guys for doing that. Thank you especially for the representative that kind of helped set everything out. So check out RTS Tactical. These plates are really nice because they're actually quite light. So these come in at about 6 pounds each, which is about 2 pounds lighter than some other plates that I tried before, and it does make a difference. These are manufactured in Florida, so they are a little thicker, but you do save weight, which is great, and things like this do add up. One interesting feature of this carrier, and this is same as the DCS plate carrier, is that the inner cummerbund has these slots for armor. So at the moment I have soft level 3 armor in it, and in my opinion, when it comes to overt setups like this, it's something that you should do is you definitely consider running side armor, right? If you're running an overt setup like this with plates, magazine, radios, why would you not carry side armor? There is definitely a consideration for when it comes to ceramic hard plates on the side. They can make your maneuverability and mobility difficult, and that's a totally valid argument, but I think that soft armor is a really good compromise because it offers ballistic protection, but it also offers fragmentation protection. So in my opinion, it's kind of the best compromise you can get is get soft armor panels in your side cummerbund. So the way I have it set up is I have these 2 double magazine pouches on my right side and then one hard faster pouch on my left. So this kind of acts as a faster pouch, and this allows me to keep 5 magazine totals on the front, and then of course I have one extra that we'll talk about in a minute. These are nice, they're bungee retained and you can just like slide magazines in and out. I like these, and there is no placard system here, so it's all like hard mollied in. The front of the plate bag, right now I have an Italian patch here, and then this patch was actually sent to me from a friend of the channel. He's active right now and this is one of his custom unit patches, so I just put it on here as a kind of low-key shout out to him and his buddies. If you're seeing this, shout out to you guys. First of all is gonna be this speed reload pouch. I mean, whatever you want to call it. So this is kind of old school, and it's something that you don't see too much nowadays. These IW, I kind of forgot what they're called, but I really like this solution because it's actually a really quick way to reload from your left side. You just pull straight down and you can insert it in the magazine. And I found that these kind of pouches have really good retention, and it's one of the only pouches that I would actually trust to hold this magazine in upside down without any sort of active retention. So it's kind of old school, and I kind of like it that way because it has that bit of GWatt old school vibes to the carrier. Right next to it is gonna be this multi-tool pouch. It's actually a 9mm pouch made by Blackhawk that holds my Leatherman, but I had to modify it by running bungee cord, and you're gonna see this as a pattern. I love bungee cord, and there's a lot of things in the carrier that get made better with bungee cord. Adds a bit more retention, and it kind of gives me a bit more sense that this is not gonna just flop out, which happened with something else before in this pouch. So I just wrapped some bungee cord around, give it more compression. Right behind it, you're gonna see the tube disconnect, which is not something that came standard with this carrier. So these are actually very affordable, what they call tubes adapters for plate carrier. And what it does, it pretty much hooks up to the molly of your cummerbund, and you can fold it inwards, and it gives you the ability to mount tubes. And this is just Velcro connected between the flap of the front bag and the Velcro. So this is actually super affordable, and it just allows you to pretty much convert any plate carrier with tubes. And I think tubes are a must nowadays. It's definitely a pain in the ass to pull up the flap every time and trying to cinch your cummerbund and make sure it's set correctly. Tubes are awesome. This is a sub $20 solution for it. I highly recommend it. Underneath, the 152 is held in the Shock Concept radio pouch. I gotta say, probably the best radio pouch on the market. It holds the radio perfectly, and what something that is very simple but it's very necessary is that this radio pouch had some padding in the back, and it really helps because these radios are big and uncomfortable and heavy. So the little bit of mesh padding really helps a lot, and then the Tegris attachment gives it that rigidity to not have this flop around everywhere. So I actually modified this pouch by pretty much stealing the clip from the Crye radio pouch, which allows you to kind of remove the pouch, remove the retention, so you can pull your radio out without having to remove your cummerbund. So this is a modification that, again, I used the bungee cord and the clip that I had laying around, and this just secures the radio so it doesn't come out. One thing that I found is that when it comes to these big radios, I highly prefer to have them underneath the cummerbund, because as I tried in the past, a radio this heavy, if it's mounted on even a dedicated radio pouch on the outside of the cummerbund with the antenna, it's just gonna flop whenever you run and move. Having it underneath the cummerbund, it's very nice. It secures it underneath your body, and it's really recommended as a method to carry this kind of radios. I find it a lot more comfortable. So you see a lot of old photos of people running the radios outside, and I think this is more of a new age solution to things. And I've seen a lot of channels pretty much do the same thing, one of them being the Ground Perspective. So he has a lot of plate carrier setup videos, and in his, which he's an active Marine, so he has, you know, direct field experience, he always runs the radio like this using the Shock Concept pouch. So shout out to him, that's definitely an inspiration. But it's a good solution. It really works well. I like to keep my cummerbund pretty much slick for the most part because I don't like things getting in the way. But the first thing we're gonna see is a double magazine pouch, which again I modified with bungee cord to add retention. So what this does is that it gives you more flexibility on what you can throw in here and kind of adjust it. So this could easily fit a water bottle. So right now there's a flashbang which is expanded, but it can show you guys that you could fit most things you want. And then underneath with the pull cord, you can just like set the tension and kind of set your bungees to whatever you're fitting in there. Underneath it, I have the Sock P dagger by Benchmade. It's a neat little dagger that just slides under the molly. And then behind that, I have this little microfiber cloth that stows in here. And this is very imperative, especially for somebody that wears glasses, but also for ballistic protection glasses, optics, camera lenses. It's always very nice to have something to wipe them down that stays relatively clean. So every time I'm using a chest rig or a plate carrier, I always have one of these around. On the inside, I have another radio wing pouch. So this comes in handy if I want to carry a secondary radio. So for example, I have a cheaper Baofeng. It's a smaller radio and it has this guard on it that I printed, but this radio can just slide in here and you can secure it, and now you have a secondary radio. Why you'd want that? There's many reasons, but for somebody like me that it's not in an active military setting, sometimes it's nice in, for example, if you're at a MILSIM event, it's nice to kind of divide your communication between, let's say you have channels for platoon leadership or team arrangements, but you can also, let's say you have one friend that you just want to chit chat with, you can just have a dedicated radio that doesn't clutter everybody else. Or if you need a loaner radio, it's nice. But you can also fit magazines in here, or for example, you could probably fit a smoke grenade or something like that. So it's versatile, and if you don't use it, it just stows. It's elastic and it stows very flat, so you don't even feel it. And again, if I were to run a radio back here, I wouldn't have an antenna sticking out because it gets in the way. I would use one of those antenna relocation cable and then just have an antenna running in the back of the carrier. Which, speaking of which, is a good segue, because so this is a tip that I got from Volgear. He's another friend of the channel. He shows his plate carrier setup that he used in Ukraine. So shout out to Hugh if you're watching this video. He's probably fighting a war right now, so he might be busy. But the one thing you can do is zip tie the connection between the back flap that opens up here to adjust the cummerbund and the cummerbund itself. And what that gives you is more rigidity in this direction, so it doesn't allow things to just like flop freely. It's a very easy and cheap modification that you can make on your carrier. Underneath, I have a sword exploitation pouch. So this is a dump pouch that is abdominal, and it's very nice. I've had it for a few years now, and what it allows you to do is just throw in a bunch of stuff that you might need or want. As you can see, I have this little breaching tool that slides in here, and this is a little breaching tool you can use for a multitude of things. The way I have it connected, funny enough, it's a DIY elastic solution, and I had this this keychain that mimics an airplane seatbelt, which is kind of neat. But it's funny because it's a perfect like quick detach solutions that you can just like unhook it so you're not gonna lose it, and then if you need to hook it back, it just slides back in and it locks just like an airplane seat. So that's something I had laying around, and I thought it was funny that it would just like be the perfect solution. So things like that is something that you don't think of. You don't necessarily need to buy anything special. You can just get creative. So this just goes here with the elastic, and then if you don't need it, you can close it with the Velcro, just roll it back up, and then it just gets out of the way. This is pretty much the setup. It's not whether, the point of this video is not whether or not you need a plate carrier, you need armor. That's not, I don't care. If you think it's cool, like go ahead and do it. It's not my decision. The reason why I have it and the reason why I mention it is because it's important to set up your gear for what you're gonna use it for. And this is more specifically set up for, let's say I'm doing a MILSIM event and I need all this stuff, so that it's more the primary purpose of it. I see a lot of people on YouTube that just have a plate carrier, slap 3 mags on the front and call it good. That's not necessarily the best use of the loadout, depending, right? There's always exceptions for it. Anyway, I hope this was informative to you guys. If there is any questions, send it my way. I'll do my best to answer. And yeah, so see you in the next video. Happy Christmas.